And myself. I'm sorry. Ben Carlisle is our guest. Good evening, good sir. How are you?
Oh, doing well, Blake. Appreciate you having me on tonight. Talk a little college football.
I greatly appreciate you coming on. You guys at Blue Tech Blue do a fantastic job. And I'm sorry for the mix-ups that we had the other night, but I'm so glad that you're joining us and looking forward to getting to the game with you. And I'll just ask you this. When you see Louisiana Tech last week, what are some of your thoughts?
Yeah, I think obviously you look at where this program's been the last, 3 or 4 years. I guess you got to go all the way back to 2019 when you're talking about the last winning season for this program. So it's been a little bit of a valley after a lot of success during Skip Holtz's tenure in Ruston. But I think the expectations coming into this year were that, Sonny Cumbie needed to get this program not only back to a bowl game, not only back to a winning season, but you needed to compete for a Conference USA championship here in 2025. And week one, you watched the game, you've seen the film. I think it was very uneven early, especially offensively. Defensively, it was really good. I think, for so many years watching Louisiana Tech football, it's been a program that has identified itself on the offensive side of the ball, and that's just not been the case going back to the beginning of 2024. So really good performance defensively. It's not to say that they don't have any faults to their game, but it was a good performance for Luke Olson in his first game as defensive coordinator. And then offensively with Trey Kukoc making his first career start, he's a junior college transfer. Tony Franklin's a new offensive coordinator. He hasn't been in the FBS game of football for 4 or 5 years now. I think we knew there would be some growing pains. But I think particularly throwing the football, that's an area that Louisiana Tech's got to clean up going forward.
People look at the game from last week and kind of see what you're talking about. Look, the first 7 possessions of the game, they couldn't really get anything established. Then there in the second half, they kind of start taking over. They win 24 and score 24 and a half, which if you can score 24 points in any half against anybody, that's what you're supposed to do. Right? This isn't like you're not supposed to do that. Do you think that this is first game kind of like feeling some things out in a half? Because it's a lot to, how do I want to say this? It's a lot to take in the sense of, I don't want to overreact in week one to something, but I also don't want to underreact.
No, that's a good point. I think that we're kind of in that same boat as you are. You don't want to overreact. I think coming into the year, you knew that there would be some growing pains. The problem for Tech fans, and you could probably throw me into this category as well. The last memory we have of Tony Franklin was back in 2012 with the Tech offense that averaged 51 points a game. So they were expecting the scoreboard to light up. But I tried to warn a lot of our subscribers that it wasn't necessarily going to be like that. Tony Franklin has really changed his style of offense. He wants to run the football first and foremost, and they weren't really able to establish a run game. I don't know that they necessarily established anything that they wanted to. I think they did show some glimpses those first 2 drives of that second half, but I think they got to get some things cleaned up, particularly along that offensive line. They struggled some with that Southeastern passing game. And then a wide receiver, we've talked about this at length at Blue Tech Blue this week. Outside of your tight end, Eli Finley, who had 4 catches for 59 yards, he's a really good player. You only had 98 total yards on 20 touches amongst your wide receivers and running backs. So those guys have to improve production-wise. The receivers got to get more separation. But I do think it was expected in a sense that this offense was going to take some time to figure things out over the first 4 or 5 weeks of the year.
Were you surprised by the pressures that the O-line was giving up?
Honestly, yes. Granted, we got to go out to fall camp 4 or 5 times this August and see those guys, and I think I had my concerns. I don't know that they were necessarily rooted from what I saw in fall camp as much as I just understand how hard it is to build an offensive line in the G5 these days. It's very, very difficult. You look in the transfer portal, if a guy can walk and chew gum, he's going to get a Power 4 offer. That's what it boils down to these days. But everything we kept hearing internally was how good this offensive line had been performing. Now, I think some of that could be, and I know we're going to get to the defense, I think some of that could be due to the defensive line that you're going up against every day. But I was just concerned with every time it felt like it was 3rd and 7, it felt like Southeastern got a pretty good pass rush, and either Trey Kukuk went down or he was flushed out of the pocket and kind of had to figure some things out with his legs. But I was a little bit surprised just in the manner that, not that Southeastern dominated the football game, but there wasn't ever a sense that Tech's offensive line was dominating the Southeastern defensive line.
Yeah, and listen, then you have LSU, which we'll get to this game too, and then LSU going out there and just like, oh shit, this defense might be back. So, by the way, they sent pressure on 89% of the time on passing downs. So, I mean, it's just like, please, dear God, don't just do it. Just let's get after him and let's see what happens. I do want to bring up, you talked about the defense a couple of times in there, but want to bring up to you, dude, am I crazy? I think y'all got serious speed at linebacker. This kid, Mason, I mean, good Lord.
No, it's a really good linebacking core. They were really good a season ago. I think you could make an argument they're, one of the top G5 linebacker units in the country. They would tell you that they're one of the tops in the entire country. I do think they're very good. You mentioned Mason. He's a transfer from Syracuse, a Florida kid. Didn't get a whole lot of time during his time at Syracuse last year, played in 12 games. I think he started 3 of those. So he played a good amount, but it feels like the last couple of weeks of fall camp going into this opener, he kind of turned a corner, and we saw that on Saturday night. And his production speaks for itself with 4.5 tackles for loss, 2 sacks. You guys are familiar with Colby Fields.
Yes.
He's had a really good couple of years in Ruston. And then Sifa Leota, he's a middle linebacker, started his career at North Texas. He kind of brings a little bit of an attitude to that defense.
Yes.
And they like to use him in some blitz stuff. That's probably where he's best utilized. I don't know that he's the greatest coverage linebacker out there, but it's a really good linebacking core. They got some depth to it as well. Benji Johnson's a transfer from Austin P that's been good. Jaden Mayfield's a kid from Ruston that's a redshirt freshman that's going to have a really good career. But they've done a really good job in that room, because there was a time from 2013 to probably up to 2022, 2023 where they couldn't get a whole lot of speed. But it feels like ever since they went to that 3-3-5 defense, you start moving some safeties, bulk those guys up, move them down into the box and play linebacker, that they've been able to recruit that position significantly better.
Yeah, I mean, dude, having double or almost double digit, you're a half a tackle for loss for all 3 of them. I mean, listen, it is very apparent, I don't care who the opponent is, that they're all over the place. Southeastern ran the ball in the first half, and Leota hit the dude right in the hole, and I'm like, oh, he's going to bounce it outside from here on out. He ain't going in there for that smoke. And you're right. Like you talking about he's downhill, and he will get in your face. He ain't scared of nobody. And listen, LSU has struggled to run the football last season. I don't know if they necessarily struggled against Clemson, but it's going to be a very interesting matchup. Speaking of that, when you look at the game and how you foresee it going, what are some things that you look out for, Ben?
Well, I want to go back to that run game point for just a second. I thought an interesting part of the Southeastern game, and there's some question marks about Tech's defensive line. I think they got 8 or 9 new faces up front. They lost their top 7 guys from a season ago from a snap count perspective. Brutal. So it's a lot of new faces. I thought Southeastern, when they tried to go horizontal side to side, they really struggled to run the football.
Yes.
When they got north-south, I thought they got some movement along their offensive line and had a little bit more success. So I'm interested to see, now that you obviously take a large jump in competition, does that carry over? And if it does, obviously that bodes well throughout the remainder of your year as you get into Conference USA play. So that's an interesting point for me as you look at this matchup on Saturday. But talking about, keys for Louisiana Tech, I think offensively, if you're going to have success, which you watch LSU on film, you watch that game Saturday night, it's hard to we talked about this on our show last night. It's hard to see Louisiana Tech scoring, if I'm being honest with you. It's a really good defensive line. The linebackers speak for themselves. The secondary's much improved as well. But I think if you do have success, it's going to be because your offensive line holds up. In theory, you can move the pocket with Trey Kukoc and get him out on the edge. I don't know if you're going to be able to take half the field away just knowing that your receivers struggle to create any sort of separation in the true drop back game as it was. And then defensively, Luke Olson spoke a lot, and Tech's defense was really good a season ago they were really good a season ago. They played a ton of zone coverage last year. Like, I think they played zone like 85-90% of the time. Luke Olson played 50% man coverage at Jacksonville State. If you do that Saturday night, that's almost a recipe for disaster, if you ask me. I mean, Aaron Anderson, Chris Hilton, all those guys. And you spoke about it earlier. LSU wants to get vertical in the passing game. That's one area that they feel like they need to improve. And so I'm interested to see what Louisiana Tech's game plan is, because I don't think you can go man-to-man in the secondary for 60 minutes.
Do you think Joe Sloan wants to make a statement here?
We asked that question last night. I don't know. I mean, if he did, I wouldn't be surprised. At the same time, I will say I think he deserved an opportunity to be the head coach here one day, and obviously that didn't happen. So if he does have a bit of an axe to grind, I could understand it. On the flip side of it, I know he has a ton of respect for Louisiana Tech. But, guys, I'll be honest, I don't know how Louisiana Tech slows down LSU, whether they're running the football or throwing the football. And that's just how much respect and how much watching that game the other night. I think LSU's program has kind of gotten over that hump. And you mentioned their defense. I thought defensively that looked like a throwback mid-2000s defensive line that the Tigers do have.
Yeah, it was interesting because, I didn't really pump this out there, but my question's been all week. And look, we're at Wednesday. This is how crazy football season works. We're already at Wednesday. You get to a point, Ben, where I'm just literally asking, does Sloan want to kind of, because coaches are funny,
they are. No, I agree.
They're completely funny. And listen, you want to, after all the shit he took this offseason, you can't run the football. Garrett can't make it. Okay, I'm going to watch. And I think he answered some of those questions. I thought he was in his bag, really, a lot against Clemson. I mean, that's a really good defense you're facing. So, look, we'll see there. Something I want to bring up to you, and I got a special question for it. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Continue on. I'm sorry.
Well, I was just going to ask you this. Is there something that you just want to see, like Tech has success with this here?
As far as this game?
Yes.
I don't know. I mean, you hate to use the line, go out and compete and play hard. Like, I'm not one of those guys. Like, don't show up to the post-game press conference and say, I'm proud of the guys for playing hard. Like, I think in an ideal world, if you got to halftime and it was, 21-14, or let's say a 7-point game, I think you'd be pretty happy with that. Obviously, I think LSU is going to win the football game, but I think offensively, you have to see improvement. Like, whether that's throwing the football or running the football, as a fan, as a guy that covers the team, Blake, I can't watch this offense score 20 points a game here in 2025. Like, I can't do it again.
Oh, no.
Like, I like good defensive football. I do. But, like, you don't buy tickets to go watch the defense, especially in G5 football. Like, that's just not how it works. And at the end of the day, hey, we won 8 games. We're 8-4. But you've heard Sean Fox say it. If you're boring, it's one thing. If you're bad, it's another thing. If you're boring and you're bad, that's when you got some issues. And so I just think this offense has to take a step forward and show some sort of a pulse consistently throughout the duration of a game.
I agree with that. And listen, I'm old enough to remember, because I was standing on the sidelines, that 2019 team let Northwestern State go up 14-7.
Mm-hmm.
It does happen.
It does happen. And we take a look at all these different statistics about things that happen in games. Like Brian Kelly, in his tenure in Baton Rouge, he kills G5 programs. Maybe that's a little bit of a motivation for Louisiana Tech. Be the team that gets it into the third quarter and it's somewhat competitive. I mean, you're obviously looking for small victories, and I don't want to come off negative towards Louisiana Tech, but I mean it's a really tall task on Saturday night.
Ben Carlisle, Blue Tech Blue. I got to ask you one question before we get out of here. Football fans are about to get pissed. What's Tech going to do in baseball this year?
I think it's a bounce back year. They've been to 3 regionals in 5 years. Last year was a bit of a down year, 32-25, but a lot of returning talent. They've added some guys through the portal and that pitching staff. I think they'll be back in a regional in 2026, if I'm being honest.
I'll never, ever forget the game. Jay Johnson's first year where we go up to Ruston and y'all win, and I'm just
that was an electric atmosphere. I don't listen.
It was good, brother.
I have a ton of respect for Jay Johnson. I don't know if he brings his team back to Ruston.
All right, I'm just going to say this. I'm not going to say who told me. After the game, I heard from a little birdie that he was pissed. He's like, they were on my ass all night. He's like, good Lord. Some teams in the SEC are on my ass as much as Tech fans were on my ass. He's like, never again. And I'm like, okay.
I got to give Louisiana Tech a lot of credit. We don't have a lot of great environments when it comes to football and basketball, but we have a really good baseball environment. The stadium's perfect for the amount of people that you get out to the ballpark. And,
right.
When Ole Miss came to town, it was electric. We've obviously had some run-ins with them a couple of years ago, hosted Arkansas in a 3-game series. It's a really fun place to watch a game. It's the electric offensive ballpark as well.
Very much so. By the way, that game last year, I forget who was against, like 19 runs between the both of them.
Yeah.
Good Lord. It was fun baseball, man. Some fun baseball. All right. Tell everybody where they can catch y'all stuff this week. I know that y'all are already doing a whole bunch of stuff, but tell everybody where they can catch it.
Yeah, bleedtechblue.com. It's just $11.99 a month. Of course, we're a part of the On 3 Rivals Network. I've had a really good transition over there starting on July 1st. Like you said, we'll have all our coverage right there at bleedtechblue.com. Had a really good interview, obviously, last night with you. Also had Director of Football Operations at LSU, John Randall Belton. He's a Louisiana Tech alum. Of course, you guys know that. It was good to visit with him. He's a good friend of mine. And you can catch us bleedtechblue.com.
Yeah, I was thinking, I mean, of all 2 people to be on the show at that exact time, I might have just sent a little text and been like, hey man, we're both really popular, and then he just said, yeah, you got it. You got to do it. He loves that place.
No, he really does. He really does.
Yes. So thank you so much, Ben. We'll talk to you soon, buddy.
Thanks, Blake. Appreciate it, man.